The first question is, I'm gonna be asking you about Indonesia when you
Okay.
lived there. What was the language?
Bahasa Indonesia. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bahasa Indonesia.
Spell it.
Bahasa.
Oh, I'm recording this. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Hello.
The second question is, what was like the currency that you used?
It's called rupiah. Rupiah. Rupiah.
Was there like a design on it?
Yeah, it was the president's face, I think. And it was red print. And I think it was the president's face. And the back of it, I think might have been a cityscape of like the city center of like downtown Indonesia, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
you spent a lot more than I did.
I had the most money.
What were like different foods that were like in Indonesia?
The number one thing that Indonesia is the most famous for is called street food. Street food. And so a lot of the Southeast Asian countries around Indonesia also have street food. And what that means is that there are people from Indonesia who prepare food. Mainly they fry a lot of food. There's a lot of fried
noodles.
And so fried noodles and fried bread, and they cook it in the morning, and then they walk all up and down the streets. And any person that gets hungry for a snack or for a meal, they stop the street food seller, and they just pick something out of their cart. It looks like a wheelbarrow with plastic walls on it.
I think one of the dishes was called nasi goreng.
Wow.
And that's one of the noodle dishes. And I think there was also one called mie goreng.
Okay.
And another popular thing they had there in the streets is called jamu, which is juice. And like some people would make it medicinal with different tinctures and things for colds or whatever ails you. You could buy that in the street.
Okay.
The meatball soup.
Bakso.
Bakso. Yeah, and then there's bakso soup. It's meatball soup. It's meatballs in hot water, seasoned broth with noodles and some vegetables. And they make it, and it's called bakso. Bakso.
Okay.
Delicious.
The next question is, were there a lot of like bigger cities in Indonesia?
Indonesia is made out of 18,000 islands because there's so many volcanoes and things that erupt and make a lot of different small islands. So 18,000 islands.
Wow.
But out of the 18,000 islands, only 4 of the islands had a lot of land. And so on each one of the islands, it had kind of a major city. So there's one of the 4 islands is called Java, Java, like coffee. And the capital of the country is located on this island, and that's called Jakarta. That's the capital of Indonesia. But then on another island, one of the other of the big 4 islands, there was another city that was called Balikpapan. One word, Balikpapan. And so those 2 cities, Jakarta and Balikpapan, actually have changed the capital of the country. It's gone back and forth over the years because there's 2 main things that Indonesia is so well known for. One is oil and gas, and another is coffee.
where was like the architecture different from the U.S., like how they built their buildings and stuff?
No, in Jakarta, the city center, which would be like their downtown, it was a lot of like high-rise buildings like you would see in any like metropolitan area. A lot of the houses where the expats lived looked pretty much like regular houses or high-rise condos. But then the local people, they had houses that were maybe, ranging anywhere from like apartments down to like things like houses like that were just like a very basic structure and could have had, mud floors. So they had like regular houses like we're used to here in the U.S. down to, more basic, primitive structures. And that's in Jakarta. And then I know that in some of the other smaller islands, they had houses that were made out of grass and bamboo with thatched roofs.
That's cool. Next question is, how is the transportation different? Like, did they use cars or like taxis maybe?
So, because the country was located directly in what's known as the Ring of Fire, where there's a lot of geological activity, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, the roads that were paved years ago have cracked and been broken. So driving is very dangerous. So there's not a lot of cars on the road. Instead, it's a lot easier for everyone else to be able to get around because it's, like I said, 18,000 islands.
Yeah.
Instead of driving around on a car, everybody has a little moped. It's like a small little dirt bike.
Oh.
Like a Vespa.
Yeah.
Scoopy.
And so it's actually safer and faster because of the population is around 300 million people. Wow. So it's about a little bit larger from the population of United States.
Wow.
And another trivia fact here is Indonesia, even though it's a string of 18,000 islands, from the west part all the way to the east part is the same width as the United States.
Wow.
And so therefore there's a lot of driving that's required. And in order to do it safely, then you need to go on a motorcycle.
And also the local taxis there were like a small little a little vehicle that was 3 wheels, 2 wheels in the back, 1 wheel in the front. Wow. And they were painted bright blue and they're called bajai.
Wow. Was it like more of like a poor country or was it like a wealthy country?
Very underprivileged.
Yes.
99% of the 300 million people are within what they call the poverty line. So they're, for the most part, 99% of the population is living definitely underprivileged. And in the olden days, they would have called it a third world country, but now it's considered an underprivileged country.
And so there were a lot of, underprivileged in Jakarta and the city. But then also, as you move away from the city, there was a lot of primitive, like tribes still living in their traditional houses, type like structures, and living the traditional lifestyle. So, there's kind of a contrast there between the people that were westernized versus the non-westernized tribes.
Okay. Did people have accents there?
Yes. Well, when they spoke English, yes.
That's cool. Was there like different holidays specific to Indonesia?
A lot of the holidays that they followed, so they're the majority of Indonesians are Muslim, and a lot of Indonesians are also of Chinese heritage. So they followed the Muslim calendar, any Muslim holidays like Eid and what's the other, Ramadan. And then they also followed the Chinese calendar, like Chinese New Year, and there was a couple others.
Yeah, that was the last question. Thank you for answering the questions.
So there is a school holiday for the children once every month.
Yeah, because there's so many different traditions.
There's so many different holidays, to answer your question, that there was one every single month. So there was a long weekend every single month,
That's cool.
if not even longer.
That's cool. I want a week like that every single month.
I know.
Thank you for answering the questions.
You're welcome.
If you have anything else or if you need anything else, let us know.
Okay. Bye.